We've got two news stories for you today. The first involving Metroid Prime 4, and the other two possibly brand new linked characters in Mario Kart World. We'll get to that one soon enough, and there's a huge maybe that goes with that, by the way. But first, let's start off with Metroid Prime 4, because we just got news of the ESRB equivalent in South Korea giving a rating to this game. Being for ages 12 and up. Now that part isn't that exciting, who really cares what rating it gets? What it does mean though is that this game is likely content complete, which is interesting for a couple of reasons. One, there were just reports yesterday of this game having some developmental issues, with some even suggesting that it may be delayed. Luckily, based on this news, it seems like those fears are unfounded, as we're very likely to hear news of this game really soon, which brings me to my next point, being that there were already rumors of a Nintendo Direct happening next week. So we might be hearing about this game sooner than later, and hopefully along with that being a release date for this thing, as there's only a few months left in the year, so we gotta find out about pretty soon if it's not going to be delayed, which again, it seems like it's not. Next, let's move on to our next story, which involves news that could also maybe appear in next week's Direct, being Mario Kart World. By the way, this also does involve spoilers, especially for DK Bonanza, so if you've not finished that game, you may want to tune out now. I'll give you a couple seconds to do that. Okay, I think that's enough time. So let's move on to something that one of our fans brought up to us, being Rye121, because they noticed, it's been going around a little bit too before this, that the credits of DK Bonanza has some crossover with Mario Kart World, especially as it applies to two characters, one being Void Kong, the other being a major spoiler character at the end of the game that we're not going to talk about here, that you probably know who if you've beaten the game, because they also appear in Mario Kart World. Now, up to this point, we didn't know, for one, that they even shared voice actors, or two, who those characters, or those actors rather, who they voiced, what characters they voiced. And we still don't know until, again, possibly now, because as far as we know, most of the other cast, the major cast, are accounted for, with these two being major gaps in that we didn't know specifically who they were voicing. But again, now with DK Bonanza coming out, it makes a lot more sense that they may be voicing those same characters in Mario Kart World, meaning those two characters could be coming to Mario Kart World sooner rather than later, and hopefully maybe in next week's Direct that ends up happening, which is super exciting. As a huge fan of those characters in DK Bonanza, I would love to play as them in Mario Kart World. Now again, that's all just speculation. Maybe there's something we're missing here, and maybe they voiced like NPC characters in the game that haven't been attributed to anyone else yet. We don't know for sure, this isn't confirmation, but it would make a lot of sense, wouldn't it? And there is precedent for this too in the credits leaking upcoming DLC, because if you take a look at the recent Astrobot on PlayStation 5, that game included credits for characters that would appear in later DLC, like Croc. They had credited the company for the makers of Croc in the credits, even though he didn't appear until many months later in the DLC, and I think there are a few other characters that are leaked that way as well. So this could be Nintendo's version of that, which is super exciting. Again, as a fan of both those characters, I would love to see and play as them in Mario Kart World, which makes me hopeful we're going to see more about that game in the upcoming Direct. Though again, we don't know the exact timing on when, if that even happens at all. So with that, everyone, thank you for watching. Let us know in the comments below what you think of this news, both on Metroid Prime 4 and even more excitedly for Mario Kart World. Do you want to play those characters? I want to hear about it if so, or if not, I really want to hear about it. Why don't you want them in the game? So with that, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you later. Bye, everyone.